I'm going to start reviewing um, the Rambo saga. Um, some of the biggest movies in Stallone's career, and what truly made him into um, this mega movie star had a lot to do with the Rambo series. And of course, the first movie is called First Blood. It is not Rambo, but First Blood. And as you see, I have it on Blu-ray, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So, it's the first time, actually, we get to meet the John Rambo character. It's a very important first step in the story, obviously, of this character. Most of you have seen this movie. Obviously, you know the story of Rambo. He's a Vietnam vet, and basically has become a bit of a drifter. He tries to seek out his old unit from Nam, and they're all have either been killed or died. He wanders into this town, and the small town, and basically just heckled and kind of treated very poorly, because in that day and age, Vietnam vets were kind of seen as drifters and kind of almost delinquents, I think, to people. I think that they were not favorable with people simply because the Vietnam War was not favorable for people, and they protested the war, and so Vietnam vets were not looked on highly as vets are today. They generally are looked at as very heroic, and we're very, very thankful to the vets. And this time it wasn't the same. It wasn't quite the same. And so Stallone plays, this drifter who gets harassed by the small town, police department. Obviously, they incarcerate him for no reason, really, just kind of badger him. And Brian Dennehy plays the police chief, and is really intent on sticking it to this guy. He's a small town sheriff. He's got a big ego, like a lot of small town sheriffs do, and he's making it a point to badger and intimidate Rambo as much as he can. That's what he wants to do. And so Stallone ends up, or Rambo, I should say, ends up breaking out of the jail that they bring him to. He takes off to the mountains. So he's up in the mountains, which is really his element. It's what he was trained to do to survive. This is what he was trained to do. And he goes into survival mode, and of course, the small town sheriff can't leave him alone, and so he sends guys after him, and Stallone basically has to fight his way through them, and eventually, it comes down to a standoff in the town. That's basically the story of First Blood. That was a quick overview, but you've all seen it. You really get to see some great acting from Stallone in this movie. I think it's a little bit underestimated as far as his acting goes. I think that it definitely belongs in the same category as when he was in Rocky. I think that he should have been nominated for Academy Award for this movie, and he should have won. There's 3 movies I think he should have won for. Obviously, Rocky, which didn't win Best Picture, but he should have won Best Actor. He should have won for this, and he should have won, I believe, for Best Supporting Actor in Copland. That's just my opinion. But anyways, so this John Rambo character that Stallone portrays, he really, he's very heroic, but he's also very sad and kind of depressed and kind of hurting, and you can tell that he has a lot of hurt and a lot of pain. So when he came back from Nam, he was confused that people were calling him a baby killer and people were spitting on him. and I think he feels betrayed by the country that he swore to protect and went and did protect, that he thought he was protecting. And I think it's a cool thing in this movie that he is fighting his own kind, the Americans, his own race. And this is the only movie that actually happens, basically, where he is attacked by his own country, pretty much. And so I think it's a cool kind of a thing in this movie, because you can kind of see that this is where he's coming from. The whole time he has felt betrayed and let down, and feels like he has no life, and it just continues to pile on him when Americans, the people that he swore to protect, are the ones that he has to fight. And so I thought that was very interesting. I thought it related to the Rambo character very well, him fighting Americans. And of course, Richard Crenna is absolutely amazing in this movie. Richard Crenna, of course, plays the iconic character of Colonel Trotman. And Colonel Trotman is basically the only guy that he really trusts. And there's some really good dialogue with Rambo and Trotman in this movie. In fact, in the end, Trotman is the only one who can talk Rambo out of literally blowing up the entire town and killing himself. And I think by the end, Rambo decided that he was going to die. I think this was his way out, but he was taking everybody with him to prove how badly he was hurt, and he wanted revenge. And of course, Colonel Trotman, the only one who could talk him out. Great scene, obviously, in the end, with them talking, and when Stallone breaks down and cries, and the Rambo character is, if you really feel for this character. It's definitely, it's a heroic movie, and it's a fun action movie, but it's definitely not just this happy movie. I mean, it's a little bit dark. The Rambo character is really hard and depressed and really picked on in the movie, and you feel for him, and you're rooting for him the whole movie. But it is a little bit of a darker movie than I think people see it as. That's what I get out of it. It's got a great score, obviously one of the most memorable scores in movie history. Obviously, some great songs came out of this movie, especially the ending song where the end credits go up. Long Road. It's just a great movie, and it looks great on Blu-ray. I have to throw that in there. This movie looks absolutely amazing on Blu-ray. This almost looks like a brand new movie. Like, it cleaned up so well, I couldn't even believe it. I was like, holy cow, it looked great. It's got a lot of special features. It's got deleted scenes. It's got the commentary with Stallone and the writer. And incidentally, Stallone was one of the screenplay writers for this movie. He contributed to the screenplay. And it's got an audio commentary with the writer, David Morrell. It's got a trivia track. It's got 1080p, high definition, and DTS HD sound. So it sounds great, looks great, fun. Effects in this movie, all practical effects, great explosions, great fight scenes, and the beginning of the Rambo saga. So that's my take on First Blood. It's one of my favorite movies that Stallone has ever done, and I hope you guys like it. And let me know what you think. I'll see you guys real soon.